be
Okay.
respectful of your time.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. And thank you for subscribing to the latest edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. I'm your boy, 12 Kyle. And we have a very, very special guest this week. This guest that we have here is actually one of the reasons why we are smiling as alumni of South Carolina State University. You guys been following the podcast. You know that that's where I went to school. We have today the head basketball coach, Mr. Tony Madlock. Coach, what's going on?
What's going on, Kyle? How you doing, my man?
Good to see you. Good to hear from you. How's everything?
Everything's good, man. Just trying to figure it out in the bird. You know how it goes.
Good. It goes without saying that we're happy to have you in Orangeburg as the head basketball coach. This is your first year. Before we get into the season and everything, I want to go back a little bit, Coach. Where did it start for you? Like, where did you grow up? Where were you born? That type of thing.
Well, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, born and raised there. Played my college basketball there. It was Memphis State at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Penny Hardaway played together, had a good run my senior year, went to the Elite Eight, one game away from the Final Four. So, just coming from Memphis and being in that basketball city, in that basketball town, I'm thrilled, man, to be part of this game.
Indeed. I did not know you were born and raised. I knew that's where you went to school, and we'll touch on that in just a few because I'm a huge basketball fan. So growing up there, how did you get involved with basketball? Because basketball is a sport, particularly because you're just a couple of years older than me. I'm sorry. How did you get involved with basketball? Basketball was huge when we were coming up.
Well, Memphis is a hotbed for basketball. Anybody who knows anything about Memphis basketball knows that is the sport there. So growing up in Memphis, probably started out playing football like most guys, but then you kind of evolve into different sports and basketball became my first love.
Okay. Were there any older siblings that kind of introduced you, or parents or anybody? How did you just really get involved and start playing? Were you influenced by anybody or anything like that?
No, it's just a neighborhood thing.
Okay.
Growing up in growing up in Orange Mound, Tennessee is what we call it in Memphis. Growing up there and being around great athletes, Melrose High School is where it's a neighborhood school. My mom, my dad, my uncles, a lot of people went to that school, and it's a neighborhood school. And so it's one of those deals that you just you playing basketball in the park, in the backyard, and it just becomes part of your life.
No doubt. Now, you mentioned Memphis State. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the great players that played there. I think my first introduction to Memphis State probably was those teams in the mid 80s. I mean, you had guys like Keith Lee, William Bedford, Andre Turner, Vincent Askew, and then I think the time that you were there, you played with Elliot Perry with the big goggles, and then the aforementioned Penny Hardaway, who's the head coach of Memphis now. And then there were guys that came after you, like CDR, Chris Douglas Roberts, the late Lorenzen Wright, rest in peace. And of course, Derrick Rose and many others. I don't want to start naming names, but those guys just kind of jump out because, you start naming names, people, oh, well, you forgot.
Yeah,
I know. Trust me, Memphis, they produced ballers. So I said that to say this, why, even just growing up in Memphis, why did you chose to stay at home at Memphis State?
Well, first of all, Kyle, man, I'm really impressed for you to name off some of those greats, man. Keith Lee and William Bedford. William Bedford is a Melrose grad.
Okay.
You talk about my Elliot Perry, who was my backcourt mate for 3 years, and then of course Penny Hardaway was 1 year. So you've named some guys, man, that I'm telling you that are great Memphis basketball players and are legends there. And I was just glad to be a part of their family. But yeah, growing up in Memphis, man, it's one thing that every Memphis kid. Now, everyone's not going to be able to stay and go to Memphis, but that's your dream.
Okay,
that's your dream, and just because everything in Memphis is about Memphis Tiger basketball. Like I said, and when I was growing up at Memphis State, and you grow up and you're watching those games come on the local channel at replays and all this stuff back in the day when they didn't show it live. So it's one of those things that, like I say, everybody in that city that's always a Tiger fan. So growing up a Tiger fan, Coach Finch, who's my coach
Yes,
then,
great
uh,
basketball player.
no doubt. He was a legend in the city, and he went to school with my mom and dad. He's a Melrose
Okay,
graduate.
okay.
So it was one of those deals that I probably didn't have a choice, even though I was highly recruited coming out of high school. I had no choice. I had no choice. I was gonna have to go to Memphis, and which I
What?
wanted to, and I did.
Okay, just out of curiosity, what other schools were recruiting you?
Well, I probably could have. Louisville was high on my
Okay,
list.
okay,
Oklahoma State, DePaul, probably were the top schools that were being recruited by at that time.
okay. And those are some heavy hitters right there back in those times. Because I think when you were in school, were you guys still in the Metro Conference, or was
Yes,
it? Okay,
yes,
okay,
yes. So my freshman year it's a Metro Conference. So you talk about Louisville and
yes,
Cincinnati and those guys, man. Virginia Tech was in that
yes.
league. Florida State. I mean, it was a
Hmm.
big time basketball league. When I first got into college.
Yeah, definitely. You came at a time, like I said, you're just a couple of years older than me, but you came at a time where, you really had to hoop. I mean, like it really wasn't any in between. I mean, like if you stepped on that basketball court, you had to bring it. So you transition from being a player, and growing up and everything, and obviously getting into coaching. So that I know that speaks to the love of the game that you have. And then fast forward to a couple of years ago, you were at Ole Miss,
Mhm.
and served as the interim coach, and then you get the opportunity to go back to Memphis and coach alongside, like you said, your former backcourt mate Penny Hardaway. What was that experience like at Memphis, going back to your alma mater and actually coaching? Because on paper, I know it looks good, but sometimes going back and being a legend and being back in the hometown, there's certain levels of pressure that come along with that. So how did you? How was that for you?
It was great. Anytime you get in this coaching business, which I did in 1996, my first job was at Arkansas State, which is in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and
Hmm.
that's only an hour from Memphis. So
Okay.
I was there for 9 years. So it was one of those deals that, that's how I really made my name in this business, by recruiting and by recruiting the city of Memphis.
Hmm.
And so, and always my dream was to get back home. It took a while now from 96 to 2018. I was all over the place from Jonesboro, Arkansas to UTEP. I went to UTEP
Okay.
in El Paso. I was at Auburn, Ole Miss, and then I was finally able to get back home. So it was a long journey, man, but it was something that I always dreamed about. And then when Penny got the job, of course, he made the phone call and we talked, and it was easy to do.
So it wasn't a hard sell for Penny to sell you in Memphis, was
No, no. Like I said, from day
it?
one, man. When you get in this profession, so like I said, Memphis is home, and anybody who's been around a Memphian and knows and been around that city knows it's a place, man, that if you're from there, a lot of people don't never leave.
Yeah.
Just because that's their home, and Memphis has always been there for me.
Okay. Okay. So then the opportunity comes last spring. You get a phone call, and you come down and interview, and you get a chance to, after being head assistant for so many years, you get a chance to come to Orangeburg, South Carolina, and become the head men's basketball coach at South Carolina State University. What went into your decision to come to the MEAC and basically try to resurrect this program?
Probably the first thing was Stacy Danley,
Yes.
athletic director here. We knew each other and got a chance to know each other well in Auburn.
Okay.
While I was there as an assistant coach, he was there. He was a former football player there. He worked there. That's where we got the chance to know each other, and we always stayed in contact. And that's what athletic does for you. You meet somebody. His sons played AAU basketball with my son. So it's one of those deals that you get a chance to see each other out on the road, going to those AAU games, and get a chance to talk and get a chance to know each other's family. And we always stayed in contact. And when this job came open, he made a phone call, and we talked about it, and we was able to work it out.
Sounds good. I've been very impressed with what Stacey Daniels has done. Like I said, as an alum, as a former football player, I've been very impressed with how he's been able to right in the ship and everything, and that's just the school pride in me. So I definitely want to be at least the last person to welcome you to Orangeburg to be the head basketball coach. Now when you came aboard, we had some lean years to say the least. Last year's team had just one win in the entire season. What has been your mindset as far as kind of resurrecting this program? Because winning and subsequently losing can be a culture. You know that all too well. So what was your mindset as you assembled your staff and brought in the kind of players that you wanted? What was your mindset in changing the culture at South Carolina State?
Well, the first thing you do, like you said, is to change the culture. And that comes with just talking about holding guys accountable. Two things we talk about every single day is being accountable and being disciplined. And we try to do that on everything that we do on and off the court. And so I think that's where it started. And it started from day one when I got the job. I had that first workout in the spring and then came back in the summer with workouts. And then in the fall, it's all been about those two things. And the guys have bought in. It's tough when you come in as a new coach. You got, you're saying new terminology, new philosophy. I coach really hard for these guys, but the reason I think I'm able to coach them hard because I think they know I love them. I'm going to treat them all like my son. I'm going to be on them. I'm not going to let anything slide. So I think they know that. So it started out, of course, starting off the year at 0-5, and it's hard when you guys are trying to figure out, hey, is this stuff going to work that coach is saying every single day? Is it going to work? Is it going to work? And they never doubted it. And so now for us to start the season out 0-5 and now at 10-10, I think that's just saying a lot about what these guys have done and trying to buy into everything we're trying to do.
Coach, I'm interested to get your mindset because I have this debate with my friends all the time. Earlier this calendar year, you guys went up against Duke. You went up to Durham, and that's nothing strange for us because our basketball team has always played against Duke, even when I was back in school back in the early 90s. And I think the world of Coach K. I think he's a great coach. I mean, legendary Hall of Fame coach, obviously. And from watching those games on TV, those games can be somewhat intimidating because you got the Cameron crazies and everything like that. But you give me the mindset of the pregame speech you probably instilled in your kids that they're just as good as these McDonald's All-Americans and all of these kids like that. What was your mindset going into that game? And what did you tell the team? Because obviously we didn't win, but I thought we played, and I saw that game. I thought especially, once probably got to about the second half, we kind of, got away from us. We started doing things that we probably weren't used to doing. But what did you tell them like prior to the game, Coach?
Well, one thing you talk about going in a game like that, it's an opportunity, man. This is something you're going to talk about when you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. And the story's probably going to change. It's going to be a guy that played 5 minutes. He's going to say, hey, man, I gave Duke 25 at Cameron Indoor. We all do that. That's part of being an athlete.
Guilty as charged.
Exactly. Me too. And so it's one of those deals. So we talked about the opportunity, man. You playing at Cameron, you playing Coach K his last year.
Yeah.
So why not go in there and try to shock the world? I mean, that was our mindset going into the game. Of course, I mean, going to play Duke, they're one of the best teams in the country. I think they were ranked second when we went in there and played them at the time. So, I mean, it's a really good program, of course, one of the best programs in the country. But, we went in there with the mindset of, hey, let's go in here and give it all we got. And whatever happens, happens. Everybody expected us to lose. And we get that. But, it was a great opportunity for my young men, something that they can think about and talk about the rest of their lives.
Indeed, Coach. And I like that mindset because you go in basically instilling in your team that they can win, like they belong on the floor with, these All-Americans and all that stuff like that. So I like that idea and that mindset. You mentioned it earlier. The team is 10-10 at the time of this recording, going into what we call the meat of conference play in the MidEastern Athletic Conference. So we've got like 9 games left. And I think we're currently sitting in 4th place at the time of this recording.
We are.
What do you think about, because I know it's hard to look back, if you will, because you're in the middle of it, but what do you think about how the team has performed up until this point of the season?
Oh, I'm so proud of these guys, man. I'm so proud. These guys are fighting. I think we're probably, of the upper teams in the league, we have to be one of the younger teams. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at Norfolk that we're about to get ready to play this weekend. And I mean, it's senior, it's junior. I'm looking at, Morgan State, I'm looking at Coppin State. I'm looking at all these teams and I'm saying, well, we're starting a true freshman. I started a true freshman, was our leading scorer. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about 2 COVID freshmen. that's playing. You know what I mean? So we only have, we got one grad transfer that starts. So I'm looking at our team and I'm like, hey, we're right what we're trying to be to build this program the right way. And so it's a lot of things that of course here at South Carolina State that we got to try to improve on. And probably the biggest thing is scholarships, because we're a program that we don't have 13 full scholarships.
Okay. Wow.
And that's that's a disadvantage to what we're trying to do. Because you're playing guys that are on basically walk-ons, that you're playing serious minutes, and that's hard to do. But we're not going to complain. I knew that when I took the job, so we're going to fight and do everything we can. But these guys are doing everything I want them to do, and like I said, man, I'm so proud of these guys.
As you should be. I think we all are, because like I said, coming off a season where we only had one win, and now we're at 10, that says a lot. And for the team to be as young as we are, those saying, Coach, you can, if you lose with freshmen and sophomores, you'll win with juniors and seniors. So I really and truly believe that that's where we'll be. I did not know that part about the scholarships. Wow, that's interesting. So you're making a lot with with what you have. So as we get into the conference play, what are your goals that you set kind of for the rest of the way? Because we're in a good position, to be honest, Coach. We're in a really good position, and I'm sure you want to develop some momentum going into the conference tournament. So what are the goals kind of going forward from this point?
Well, it's to find a way to win games. It's going to be one of those deals like, we open up the league play at home. We lose 2 at home to Coppin State and to Morgan State. And, and those are 2, they all, those teams were picked, I think, 4th and 2nd preseason. Norfolk is picked 1st. I think Central was picked 3rd. So we will open up the league with, basically the top 3 teams, so it was tough. It was tough for those 2 home games, especially that Morgan State game, where they hit a shot at the buzzer to send it to overtime. And then overtime, we just didn't make enough plays. So you lose those 2 home games. Then you got to go on the road, and you're 0-2. And about it in college basketball, man, going on the road is so hard to do. Yes. I don't care what level you are at, but it's so hard to do. So for us to go on the road and win those 2 games on the road, and we didn't, especially that Dell State game, we didn't play very well. We had a lot of adversity. We had our starting 5-man get hurt the first play of the game, didn't finish the game. We had a starter foul out. We had another starter got injured. So, it was a lot of adversity going on in that game. So we were just trying to find a way, which we did. So I guess the message for the rest of the league play is to find a way to win a game, man, no matter what it takes. No excuses. Play hard, play your butt off, and whatever happens, happens.
Indeed. You are in a position where, unlike any other coach that has preceded you, you are in a situation where you're in the middle of a pandemic, just like the rest of us. How have you and the team and the faculty and the staff dealt with COVID and the COVID outbreaks and kind of keeping everybody safe? Uh-oh. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can you hear me?
I got you.
Okay. How have you dealt with the team as far as COVID is concerned, and keeping everybody safe and healthy?
Man, we're trying our best. First of all, we're 100% vaccinated on my team.
Okay.
So that's big. Another part of it is we're probably over 50% that has gotten a booster. So we're on track to try to do everything we can to try to to finish this season out. So we're trying to do everything we can, man. All the protocols and safety issues that we have on campus and with our administration. So we're trying to do everything we can to make sure we can finish this season.
Good point. That's a good point. And I mean, I know that's hard for everybody to navigate, because we're all in the same boat, trying to stay COVID free and trying to stay healthy. As an alum, and I'm going to ask this on behalf of, the millions of alumni from South Carolina State across the country and the world. You mentioned the scholarships and everything. Obviously, that deals with finance. Is there anything that you need from us? What can we do to help get us financially to where we need to be as far as support, whether it be at the games, whether it be, sending money? What is it that you need from us? Because we want to help.
All of the above.
Okay.
Everything that you can imagine being a former, Bulldog could help this program. But I think, with basketball, and I'm not speaking for anybody else but us, for men's basketball, is that scholarships. I mean, because like I said, if you're looking at, we have 8 full scholarships when, probably everybody else in our league has 13.
Okay.
And that's a low number. That's a low number for what you're trying to do. So, I think that's the biggest deal for me and my program.
Okay. Now, I would be remiss, Coach, if I didn't ask. Your son, TJ, is on the team. He is the current leading scorer on the team at a little bit more than 12 points a game. He's a freshman, tall kid, 6'3". I gotta ask because I have one son in college and one son in grad school now. And my kid, and they didn't play basketball, but when we get out on the basketball court, they want to challenge dad. They want to, see if dad can hoop. Now, dad is only 5'7". I don't know how tall you are, Coach, but I'm sure that you're taller than me. Has TJ challenged you recently, or when's the last time you played against him? I guess that's the question I should
ask. I got you. No, I'm 6'2".
Okay.
But yeah, the last time we played one-on-one, I think we were at probably at Ole Miss.
Okay.
So that was somewhere between 2014, 2018. Okay. I barely won, and I said I'm never playing you again. So that's been a long time. He's challenged me before, and I'll never play him one-on-one again. Ever.
Smart man, Coach. Smart man. Because now he wants to. Because I even tell my sons about how, and I still tease my dad about this to this day. I was 13 years old, and he said, "Okay, well, hey, let's play. You get 2 of your friends, and I'll get 2 of my coworkers, and we'll come over." And he came over to play. And Coach, we ran him off the court. I mean, we were throwing alley-oops, and we weren't dunking or anything, but it was just that level of pride of having one up on your dad. So I don't even play my kids in Madden, Coach. I don't want to lose because my kids talk trash. So we try to keep it real competitive in the house.
Same way here, man. Same way.
Last thing before we get you out of here, Coach. Just on a lighter note, I talk a lot about music on the podcast. I know you mentioned Orange Mound. I know some famous rappers from Orange Mound, being 8 Ball and MJG. Now, I know that your kids on your team probably listen to music that's probably not of your era. And I'm pretty sure that you probably don't listen to the music of their era. So when it's game time or when it's downtime and you put something on, what are you listening to, Coach?
8 Ball MJG. You just said it. No, but I'm an old school guy, man. So I'm with Jay-Z.
Okay.
I'm with Nas. I'm with Biggie, Tupac, those guys, man. And I like my R&B also, but I'm with those guys. But like I said, when you talking about rap, man, I'm with 8 Ball MJG, man. Orange Mountain all day.
I feel you, Coach. The Lils and the Youngs, they have their place. You got to be able to rap. You mentioned Jay-Z and Nas, that those cats came out when we were in school, so
no doubt
it's a little bit different. And I definitely rock the 8 Ball and MJG. But yeah, I definitely love talking about music and love hearing and seeing the vibe that kids have when they come out on the court. I guess the biggest thing right now is the transfer portal. And so you got kids moving all over. You see it a lot in football. You see it quite a bit in basketball as well. The question I have for you is, I know that generally speaking, kids are kids. Basketball players, much like football players, they want to be coached, at least the great ones. You recruited a kid that's in the NBA right now, James Wiseman of the Golden State Warriors. He's hurt, but he's coming back. And personally, I think once he gets back and gets acclimated to what they're doing, I think the Warriors probably could win the title. So even saying that, how is it when you have to deal because kids have so many distractions and everything? How do you keep the kids focused on what's important while they're at South Carolina State?
And that's a tough job, because, you have a rotation. Like I told these guys when I first got the job, I'm probably going to, out of 15 guys on the team, I'm probably going to play 8, 9 guys at the most, maybe 10. But that 9th and 10th guy, their minutes are very going to be suspect. So it just depends on foul situations, somebody's hurt, injured, or whatever the case may be. So I told them from day one, if you want to play, you got to find a way to get into that top 8 guys. Guys 9, 10 through 15, I mean, your minutes are going to be suspect. In some games, you won't get in the game. So with today's society, everything now is about now. now.
Right.
So that's why that transfer portal is like it is. Back in my day, you come in as a freshman and you hope you get on the floor. You pray you get on the floor. Your sophomore year, you get a little bit more burn. Then maybe you're starting by your junior and senior year. That's how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those days are done because now as coaches, as recruiters, we got to tell these guys, oh, hey, you're going to come in, you got a chance to start. You come in and then they're not as good or they're not ready to start. And then now they're ready to leave after their first semester, after that first year. And so, so it's just a different time. You see it around the country in AAU in high school, how many times these kids are leaving and playing for 4 or 5 different high schools. How does that happen? How do you play for 3 or 4 different AAU programs? How does that happen? Because, hey, it didn't work out. I'm leaving. I'm going somewhere else. And so that's the society we live in now. So we just have to deal with it. So like I said, that transfer portal, it will never stop. It's going to go. It's going to continue every semester, every year to continue to grow.
That's a great point, Coach. That's a great point. I mean, and it's so many things that can distract the kid, from NIL deals to social media and how they handle themselves and things of that nature. And it's let's be honest, it's a lot harder than it was when we were coming up, but we had it harder. So I totally understand where you're coming from in that aspect. Coach, I gotta thank you again for coming on the 12 Kyle podcast. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I live in Atlanta. I have not been to a basketball game. Man, it's been a couple of years, but I'm going to make it my business to try to get, if I can't make it this season, I'll make it next season, buy a ticket or something like that and send it to somebody, because we got to definitely support you, Coach. Anything you want to say before you get out of here?
Man, I appreciate you, first of all, Kyle, for having me on, man. To all the Bulldog Nation, man, who's been reaching out and trying to support, man. We've had some games in Charleston this year, and, man, the Bulldogs have shown out. We played in Rock Hill when we played Tubby Smith in High Point. We had a lot of fans there, man. So, man, we're just thrilled to be here. Love everything about Orangeburg. It's a smaller version of Memphis to me,
okay.
To be honest with you. So proud to be here, man, in South Carolina State. To be a part of the community here in Orangeburg, man. We're just going to try to find a way to win games, man, and make everybody proud.
Definitely, Coach. And I mean, the vibe on campus, I'm sure, is really high right now, especially with the football team winning the Black College National Championship. So, Coach Pugh got it done. So, we're not going to put any pressure on you to win a MEAC title just yet, Coach. But I definitely see the potential. I like what you guys are doing, and you got my support 1,000%. I got to thank Coach Raheem Weiler, who set this up. Raheem and I were in school together. He was a star on the basketball team while I played football. And you definitely got my support, Coach. Much success to you the rest of the season. We're going to be watching. Hopefully we get on a run here, and the MEAC tournament is coming up. And, once you get in the dance, Coach, I mean, anything can happen, from your days at Memphis State. But I want to thank you again for coming on. I definitely appreciate it, and we're going to continue to support you. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this edition of the 12 Kyle podcast. So for Coach Mad Dog, they told me that's what they call you, Coach Mad Dog. Coach, thanks for coming on again. I'm your boy, 12 Kyle. We'll catch you guys next time. 5,000.
Man, I appreciate you. Peace.
No problems, Coach. Thanks.